I'm Sage Cohen, and this is going to be a quick instructional video on how we learn to tell the stories that we want to live by, and through that process really shape our quality of experience as life happens. I'm going to start with a quote by Viktor E. Frankl. He says, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." So I'm going to be talking about how we cultivate the stories that live in that space between stimulus and response. So what I have come to understand as a writer and a life coach for many decades is that most of us are living by stories that we don't realize are running the show. And when we have life experience, whatever that lead story is, becomes the filter for that experience. So for example, one of my leading stories in life was that I am alone, I have no support, and I can't count on anyone. And so whatever came at me in life, if 99 data points said that I was supported and loved and adored, those data points didn't stick. I was looking for evidence of my alienation, of the ways I wasn't supported. So I looked for this in evidence of, I looked for evidence of this in my life, and then in my marriage, and then in my divorce. And I'm going to talk in a minute how I kind of turned this story around. If you came to this video from my blog, then you read about another kind of lead story, my Uncle John and his love for my Aunt Linda. And Uncle John's lead story was that Linda could do no wrong. And he gave his attention only to the data points that supported that. She burned dinner, he focused on how much he loved the salad. He just was only going to feed the story that he was satisfied and delighted and thrilled. And this is a choice that we all have available to us at all times. We can decide the storyline we want to live by, and then we can focus on the evidence that supports it. So here's how it works. Something happens. You pause. And you decide, before you react, what part of the experience you are going to anchor in story. So the question number one that you ask yourself is, what is the story I want to live by? So what I decided in my divorce process, I want to be full of gratitude for my co-parent. That is my new story. I want to live by that story. Number two, how will I invest in this story? And my answer was, I will give all of my attention to what pleases me, period, to what I can honestly and authentically appreciate. And number three, and this is a tricky one, they may take a little bit of investigating, what identity will I give up to write this new story, to tell this new story? And the identity that I had to give up was being right, that I had been wronged in marriage and in divorce, and I was right. But even deeper and more historical, this lifelong idea that I am alone, that I am unsupported, and that I am disappointed in relationship. So I committed to those three things, and my practice of telling this story, kind of building up a case for myself, that I am full of gratitude for my co-parent, is that any interaction we had, I gave only my attention to what pleased me. So if I called him and he answered the phone and I asked for something and he wasn't willing to do it, that really didn't happen very much. But, if that were the case, I would say, thank you for answering the phone. Thank you for taking my call. Thank you for considering my request. I was truly grateful that I had the chance to ask, and that we had the chance to explore the possibility. And none of the rest had my attention. And what happened is that we went from the disappointer and disappointed to the delighter and the delighted. And that became, over a period of time, but really quickly, the pattern changed. When I was giving positive feedback, I started getting positive experience, and it became a virtuous cycle. So again, the 3 questions that we ask ourselves when we're wanting to change the story we're living by is number 1, what story do I want to live by? Number 2, how will I invest in this story? And number 3, what identity will I give up to do it? So I'd love for you to try this out for yourself and let us know what you discover in the blog comments below at sagecohen.com. Thanks so much. Take care.